few days before the wedding planning company asked my fiancée and me to do a rehearsal first. When I picked up my fiancée, her brother suddenly got angry. He said, "How can you be so intimate in front of so many people? Emily, can't you walk by yourself?" My fiancée suddenly jumped out of my arms. "Go comfort your brother," and insisted on getting into the wedding car by herself. Our custom here is, on the wedding day, the bride's feet cannot touch the ground. My parents tried their best to persuade me. However, his fiancée, with whom he had been in love for 3 years, requested to postpone the wedding because of this. My brother doesn't like this. If you still want to insist on these old rules, then let's postpone the wedding. Both sides of the relatives looked at William in surprise. Isn't it natural for the groom to hold the bride? William shouted at me in anger. Can't my sister walk by herself? Why are you doing this? Want to take advantage of her? The people around began to discuss in low voices. On the wedding day, the bride must not let her feet touch the ground. My mom explained with a smile, William, you should do the same when you get married in the future. I don't care. I do not allow James to hug my sister. Otherwise, you can stop recognizing me as your brother. William insisted stubbornly. I looked at Emily in surprise. Her eyes were filled with worry. Then I released my embrace. Emily jumped down from my arms. Almost fell. A delicate high heel suddenly fell onto the road that had just been rained on. The pristine white wedding dress and my suit were instantly stained with dirt. It feels just as chaotic as my current mood. Oh dear. My mom quickly stepped forward to lift Emily's skirt. How could it have fallen? Fortunately, today is not the official wedding. You can't do that on the wedding day. The people around her gathered with concern to ask Emily if she had fallen. But she seemed not to hear it, just quietly comforting in front of William. It's okay, brother. I won't let him hug me. I can walk by myself, right? Humph. William let out a soft hum. Then you must ensure that he never hugs you again. From now on, don't let me hold you. Then we might as well become sworn brothers. Okay. I will follow your instructions. The fiancé agreed to his request without hesitation. William crossed over Emily, staring at me provocatively, seemed very proud. I heard Emily mention before that he has a good older brother. I didn't expect it to be like this. Forget it. He is not officially married yet. May not be very sensible. Don't hold it against him. The future mother-in-law stepped forward to explain. I exchanged a glance with my parents. Suppress the unpleasant feelings inside. Continue participating in the wedding rehearsal. Next, under the warning gaze of his fiancé's brother, when the host said that the groom should kiss the bride, Emily looked at William, then say, let's skip this part. I saw that her eyes were filled with William. The last bit of hope in my heart was shattered. After the wedding ceremony, Emily and I were surrounded by a group of people who took us to the new house. What I didn't expect was, William arrived early. I am lying on my new bed, barefoot. Future mother-in-law hurriedly stepped forward. Whisper a question. What are you doing? He was pulled out of bed barefoot. Then, dissatisfied, she jumped back onto the new bed. Several distinct footprints were immediately left on the red bedspread. What's wrong? Can I no longer lie on my sister's bed? I'm just helping them see how good this bed is. The relatives around heard this. Immediately quiet down. Even someone who is completely clueless should understand this. This new bed is prepared for the newlyweds. How can one just casually get into bed? Moreover, William is already 28 years old. I turned to look at Emily. I want her to give an explanation. She said gently to William, my brother is right. Emily's home is your home. Everything at home belongs to you. James will like you just like I do in the future. He won't get angry, right, dear? The last sentence was said to me. It feels quite funny. I promised her before that I would be a good brother-in-law, but unexpectedly, her brother turned out to be such a boundaryless person. I did not answer. Directly pull open the blanket on the bed. The bed was supposed to be filled with peanuts and longan. Now there are only leftover peanut skins. The most outrageous thing is, there was a whole row of small cacti in the middle. The 1.8-meter bed was divided into 2 halves. The guests nearby were discussing quietly. How could a cactus be placed on the bed? What is this custom? Is it appropriate to do this? How do newcomers take a break? Isn't it obvious that this is intended to separate them? The bride's family is being very inconsiderate. Emily, can you tell me what happened in your family? I stared at her and asked. This? Emily also seemed to find it a bit strange. Don't make things difficult for my sister. William looked down at me from the bed. My sister just agreed to me. I won't let you hold her anymore. to prevent you from engaging in any inappropriate behavior with her at night. I specially prepared this for you. If you are not afraid of pain, just come over and give it a try." The anger that had been suppressed in my heart all day suddenly surged up, almost laughed out loud. "Emily, this is all what you said." "No, James, listen to me. I can remove the cactus." I ignored her, walked directly out of the master bedroom, went to the guest room. Sure enough, the secondary bedroom, which was originally planned to be converted into a children's room, is already filled with William's belongings. A blue mosquito net, black bedding. There is also a photo on the bedside table of him playing with Emily, especially eye-catching. "Husband, just this small matter. Do you really need to get angry?" Emily was still behind me, chattering non-stop. "So what about this?" I pointed to the secondary bedroom. "Ask the way. What does this mean?" At this moment, other guests also came over. "What are your opinions?" William's voice sounded somewhat provocative. "I had already made plans with my sister. Wherever she goes, I will go. Anyway, her home has to have the room that I have. My room is the same, so I moved over here. Right, Emily?" Emily seems a bit guilty because she has never mentioned this matter to me. However, she quickly defended William. "Yes, James, I promised William. Anyway, no one is using the second bedroom. What's the problem with letting William stay for a while? James, from now on, we are all one family. Don't overthink it." In the end, Emily seemed to be convinced by her own words. The more we talk, the more confident we become. The last sentence was said to me in a tone of accusation. It was an impressive scene. I smiled faintly. "Talk to the videographer. Please take a good photo." The cameraman nodded. "Point the camera at the room. Document all of this." At this time, a youthful voice suddenly sounded. "Mother, whose pants are these?" Everyone's attention was instantly captured. Everyone turned to look in the direction of the sound. I saw a 6 or 7-year-old boy coming out of the bathroom, holding a pair of men's underwear. The sensible people all blushed. My relative also whispered to me, "James, is that yours?" My complexion suddenly turned bad. "We haven't moved into the newly renovated wedding house. This certainly cannot be mine. Could there be some misunderstanding?" I looked at Emily. "Ask, what are you doing?" William said loudly, "Step forward and grab the item. Why do you want to touch other people's belongings?" At this moment, he noticed that everyone around was looking at him, shouted angrily, "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen it? I just changed it. I am ready to ask my sister to help me with the laundry." He looked at me. A faint, unclear smile appeared on his face. "As long as my sister was at home, they all help me wash my underwear. She won't change just because she gets married, right?" "Emily, it won't change," Emily answered naturally. "Just leave it there." "Brother, I will help you wash it when I have some free time later." I was taken aback. William looked at me. A proud expression appeared on his face. It really opened my eyes. There is actually such a brother-in-law. On the day of the wedding, I changed my underwear in my sister's new house. He also asked his sister to help him wash. What a shameless person. Who said that sentence? Yes, where is there a brother-in-law living with a newlywed couple? My relatives couldn't help it. Also started to tease. "That's right. This brother-in-law is really over the top. The groom is not allowed to carry the bride onto the wedding car. Do not allow them to share a bridal chamber together. I also need to move to my sister and brother-in-law's new house. Is this really good?" Someone said directly, "You won't let your sister and brother-in-law consummate their marriage. Do you want to spend time with your sister together?" William heard the sarcasm, angrily threw away the things in hand. "Emily, didn't you say that you would treat me well after we got married? Are you just going to let them talk about me like that?" Emily held him tightly, her heart aching, said to me with some blame, "James, is your family's relative really that uneducated?" I smiled, pointing at the balcony. "Our relatives are quite well-mannered. If it were another family, I had already thrown you down from here." "James," Emily's voice sounded a warning. "We have been together for 3 years. Finally arrived at today. Are you really planning to treat my brother this way?" These 3 years have indeed been challenging. Emily and I have always supported each other at work, struggled for 3 years. Finally, the results can be seen. To take responsibility for the efforts over these 3 years, I have decided to try harder once more. "Emily," I looked at her calmly, "I am just an ordinary person. I hope our wedding follows the prescribed procedures. Every step is essential. Moreover, I hope we have our own private space. So, please ask your brother to move out. If you are willing, I want to try again. If you are unwilling." I stopped and said, That's it. Thinking of the little moments we've experienced together over the past 3 years, I feel somewhat uncomfortable inside, failed to say the cruel words. However, Emily interrupted me. William is my brother. He doesn't like you hugging me in the wedding car. I also don't like kissing you in public. We can listen to him. Why are you so concerned about these trivial matters? My brother moved here to live. What impact does it have on us? Since you love me, you have to accept all of me. If you can't accept it, then let's postpone our wedding date. When you're ready to understand, go apologize to my brother again. I nodded, looking at the two people who are closely together. There was an unavoidably bittersweet feeling in my heart. I originally thought that a wonderful future would come soon. I never expected today would be the day we part ways. In fact, it is not him who is blocking me. Instead, it is I who have affected you. I take a step back. I finish speaking and turn to leave. James is right. You don't need to marry anyone else in your family. Let the two siblings live together. My relatives also left. Emily angrily said from behind. What are you talking about? He is my brother. I won't allow you to speak about him like that. Emily's mom came over to try to stop me, but the relatives pushed her away, protected me while leaving the scene, just went downstairs. I ran into my parents who were seeing off the guests. They heard various gossip from their relatives, so angry that I could explode. I immediately wanted to go upstairs to discuss it. I shook my head at them. Just consider it as leaving some dignity for these 3 years. After returning home, I immediately notified our friends and family here. Cancel the wedding. What a pity. It seems that the desire for a good parting is only my personal thought. Emily and I work at the same company, but in different departments. Monday at work, I inevitably ran into her downstairs again. She had her arms linked around William. It looks very close. It was like saying goodbye to him. Others might mistakenly think they are a couple. William saw me show a look of annoyance. I didn't pay much attention to it either. Continue walking towards the elevator, but Emily caught up. Say to me, James, do you understand your mistake? I really love you, but I only have one brother. I need to consider his feelings first. The day after tomorrow is our wedding. It's still not too late for you to apologize to my brother. My brother is preparing to take the civil service exam. He needs a tablet for online classes. You can buy him an Apple tablet. I will speak well of you then. It can be done. She said this to me. I listened to her words. I couldn't help but laugh. I think she takes it for granted. Emily, don't you think your brother cares about you a lot? This is a bit strange. I kindly reminded her. What's so strange? Emily frowned at me. People with something on their mind feel that everything is wrong. My brother and I grew up together. This kind of emotion is something that an only child like you cannot understand. I shook my head. No one spoke again. I didn't expect that. Half an hour later, the traffic police suddenly called. Is this James? You are suspected of hit and run. Come to some street soon. I was stunned. Confirmed once again. I finally realized that it was my only car that hit someone. The car is still considered part of the betrothal gifts. It hasn't been dealt with yet. It should be parked in the underground parking lot of the marital home. It is obvious. This matter is closely related to the Williams siblings. A surge of anger suddenly arose in my heart. I quickly ran to the scene of the incident. Arrived there, I saw the white BMW that my parents spent over $600,000 on parked in the middle of the road. The front of the car was severely damaged. It is impossible to tell that it is a new car. In front of the car, a black sedan has overturned on the ground. A man and a woman were rescued from inside, injured all over, lying on the ground waiting for the ambulance. The crowd of onlookers saw me coming over. They immediately surrounded me and started accusing me. Is driving a luxury car really that impressive? Look at how serious their injury is. That's right. Ran away again. Get ready to go to jail. You are the one driving this car, right? The traffic police asked me seriously. That's right. It is him. I saw it. A person said, but he seems to be a person with blonde hair wearing white clothes. Some people expressed their confusion. What do you understand? He can change into a wig and some clothes. Another person disagreed. I immediately understood. Short hair and white clothes. Isn't that just what William looks like? It seems that Emily took my car without permission and lent it to her brother. I was just about to speak. Emily arrived suddenly. He grabbed me, said firmly to the traffic police. It's him. I'm sorry. My boyfriend has gotten himself into big trouble. I will hold him accountable. This girlfriend is quite nice. The person next to them exclaimed in admiration. Much better than this boyfriend. That's right. like a big man. The car is in this condition. It's really disappointing. A man continued speaking. I am angrier now. No, I was about to refute, but was pulled aside by Emily. James, can you admit that it was you who was driving? You know it too. My brother hasn't passed the driving test yet. He was driving without a license. If it turns out to be him, then his life will be over. After that, I couldn't even take the civil service examination. Do you really want his future to be ruined? As long as you admit it, there will be no problem. At most, it will just cost some money. It's only a few days. You can rest assured, since you apologized to my brother will forgive you for what happened that day. We'll get married once you get out. Our family will not reject you. Speaking of which, she raised her voice. James, just be honest. Confess and you will be treated leniently. Resistance is uncomfortable. Apologize to them sincerely. After all, it was you who wasn't paying attention while driving. Have a better attitude. Perhaps we can still strive for a letter of understanding. Everyone around agreed. Also take photos and forward them. Being misunderstood and criticized in front of so many onlookers. My anger erupted in an instant, but strangely, I suddenly calmed down after being at the peak of anger. I pressed the recording button on my phone, gave her a slight smile. I understand. Don't worry. You know your brother doesn't have a driver's license. Why is he still allowed to drive my car? What is yours is mine. This car is meant for me to drive, isn't it? Emily saw that I had a good attitude. Also relaxed. Speak softly. He used to frequently drive my dad's car. Nothing has happened either. It was the other party who didn't pay attention and bumped into him. The ambulance has arrived. 2 injured individuals were taken away. Emily and I were also taken for questioning. At the police station, I directly played the recording from my phone. Mr. Police Officer, the car was not driven by me. It was borrowed by her brother without my ex-girlfriend's permission. Listen to her. It seems that older brother still doesn't have a driver's license. Emily was stunned after hearing this. She said to me angrily, James, how can you speak like that? My brother is about to get involved. The police stopped her from shouting. I began to check the dashcam footage in my car and the surveillance videos along the route. The dashboard camera shows William ran a red light while driving, ran into a black sedan. The driver of the sedan shouted a few curses. I didn't expect William to actually stumble backward for more than 10 meters. The car crashed violently into the small sedan again. What's so arrogant about an ordinary car? Wait for you. I won't run you over. As soon as the words were spoken, the black sedan was immediately flipped over. White smoke rose up. My car's front is also damaged. See, things become serious. William quickly unbuckled his seatbelt, fled the scene. The surveillance cameras along the way clearly recorded the entire process of William driving from our company's entrance to the incident location. The facts are clear. William was still blaming me at that time. It's all his fault. It was he who lent me the car. He did it on purpose to get me into trouble. The car belongs to him. He should take full responsibility. I don't want to argue with him. Just handed all the evidence to the police. James, do you know what you are doing? Emily looked very disappointed. Have you thought about our future? You do it like this, your family will not forgive you. I smiled. She waved the accident photos on her phone at him. Emily, let's think about how to seek forgiveness from the victim's family first. Emily, it's all your fault. Look at this boyfriend you found. He clearly knows that I don't have a driver's license. Still unwilling to stand up for me. Such a useless boyfriend. Let's break up. Emily looked at me, biting her lip. Not a word is spoken. Quiet. The police officer in charge of the case couldn't hold it in anymore. What is the educational level of you siblings? Do you not understand the law at all? Do you know what driving without a license and hit and run are? Do you still dare to let others take responsibility for you? William finally stopped speaking. A month later, the results of the accident handling have been announced. William needs to take full responsibility for the incident. Compensation of over 1.8 million yuan is to be paid to the 2 seriously injured victims. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. William's dream has completely shattered. Emily borrowed the car to William without permission, also received corresponding punishment. Emily's mom and William's dad, who had been treating me well, suddenly came to the company, furiously accusing me of not wanting to take responsibility for William. He was sent to prison. They say I have low morals, lack of respect for the elderly and concern for the young. It also requires the company to terminate my employment. Of course, what the William family is most anxious about now is raising money to compensate the victims. Emily pretended to advise me kindly. James, don't be angry anymore. We are all one family. In fact, you are not willing to admit that it was you who drove the car. It has caused my brother to suffer such a great injustice. Now I have to pay more than 1.8 million. We also don't want too much. Just give 1 million. I know you are an only child. The family's financial situation is also quite good. Colleagues are whispering, seemed very confused. Who was driving the car? Anyway, yes, it sounds like James is driving the car. Where is it? He was clearly at the company that day. A colleague came forward to speak up for me. I really can't understand. I refuted several people without mercy. Are you thinking about how to take my money? You actually stole my car. Give your brother a chance to drive without a license. As a result, there was an accident and the person fled the scene. You want me to take responsibility for you? I don't want to at all. Come to argue with me again. That's right. This sentence sparked a lot of discussion among the colleagues around. Oh dear, is Emily really that kind of person? Didn't you say you were going to get married? Why has it become so serious now? Emily watched the whispers of her colleagues around her. Tears keep flowing uncontrollably. Seems particularly pitiful. James, don't say that. If it weren't for these events, we got married a long time ago. You can rest assured, as long as you give me this money, I won't pursue the matters of the past. I will still marry you. You are thinking too simplistically, aren't you? It's not about us getting married right now. Instead, we had already annulled the engagement. I was speaking. Deliver the court summons to her. I must remind you, William's debt is not just 1,800,000. And my car, it has been determined that it is no longer worth repairing. You have to compensate me with a new car. It's not that expensive either. It's just over 600,000. Ah, Emily's mother shouted. At this time, you are still thinking about making William pay money. Could you please consider others for a moment? Is your family really short on money? Do you really need this money? Why are you so inconsiderate of others? I shouldn't have agreed to let Emily be with you in the first place. She came towards me while speaking. Want to take action. He was stopped by the security guards who arrived. When leaving, Emily said to me, disappointing, James, I really didn't expect you to be such a practical person. Relatives are facing difficulties. All you see is money. I gave a cold smile. Such a person as William, how can they be considered my relatives? I didn't expect that night. Someone suddenly started exposing this matter online. The video of the scene I rushed to on the day of the accident. There is also a video today in which William's family accuses me of being unwilling to take responsibility. They have all been edited and uploaded online. Various rumors and tidbits. I became a hit-and-run driver, a selfish man who even made my brother-in-law take the blame for me. Not only that, I even asked my brother-in-law for compensation for the vehicle damage. As a result, my image became very poor, like someone who completely disregards the lives of others, those who only care about their own interests. William's image transformed into a pitiful and helpless little character. One can't help but admire the sense of morality that today's internet users possess. They passionately discussed the event. It also made it to the trending searches. As a result, various versions emerged one after another. Some say that James from a certain company fled the scene of the accident, put the blame on the brother-in-law. James quickly annulled his engagement to his fiancée to distance himself from the situation. James framed his brother-in-law, also demanded compensation for the vehicle damage. This news caused a huge stir online. Even some agitated individuals came to our company to seek an explanation for William. After failing, he stayed by the door. The company leaders had to turn to me. She subtly suggested that I take a few days off to rest. Although this is said, but I understand in my heart, as long as I don't handle this problem well, my efforts over the years may be in vain. I packed my things. I plan to go home and think carefully about this matter. I didn't expect to see my childhood friend Sophia smiling at me in the lobby as soon as I came downstairs. Sophia, how did you get here? Aren't you abroad? How did you come back? I heard that you have something going on. I came to help you, she said with a smile. As soon as Sophia returned, my worries are all resolved. Her work is related to the internet. Meet many well-known figures in the industry. That noon, she invited several well-known online news reporters. Next, I will record the details of the car accident, where Emily asked me to take responsibility for her brother. I also provided them with the video of Emily and me rehearsing on the wedding day. Several reporters were very excited. I think this is definitely the biggest plot twist of the year. The next day, by the time the online criticism reached its peak, many well-known media outlets jointly released the truth of the events that were compiled the previous day. The situation has reversed. William drove the car without the owner's permission, also fled after the accident, After the incident, he wanted James to take responsibility for him. Everyone thinks the pitiable William is actually ruthless and merciless. James may become the biggest unfortunate person this year. During James's wedding rehearsal, the eccentric behavior of the uncle has sparked heated discussions. There is also a video. Not only that, the police station has seen a lot of false information online regarding the car accident. An official statement was specifically made regarding the survey results and surveillance footage. Almost instantly, public opinion is now in support of me. This young man is truly wronged. How can there still be uncles like this these days? This is truly helpless. It's really off-putting. Does this brother-in-law have a romantic interest in his sister-in-law? Who would dare to marry his sister in the future? The William family originally intended to use public opinion to pressure me to withdraw the lawsuit. By the way, raise some money. Unexpectedly, it ended up backfiring. Result: the reputation of the William family instantly turned sour. Many emotional netizens went to their house to kick the door and curse at them, and wrote many insulting words with paint in the hallway. For example, incest, mutant snakes, a nest of scumbags and bitches, etc. The William family called the police, but there is no evidence. In the end, the problem was not resolved. The neighbors couldn't stand it. Many residents are demanding the property management to evict this family. In order to quickly resolve the dispute, they have no choice but to sell their current house. The compensation gathered was given to the two injured parties and me. The moment I received the compensation payment, I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, I can cut ties with this strange family. The William family will only be able to squeeze into a dark basement in the future, facing the people in this city who know their past. Every day feels like I can't lift my head. Thinking of this, I feel very refreshed. Brother James, Sophia gently patted my shoulder. Don't worry about people and things that aren't worth it. Think more about those who are worth it. I turned around. I saw the light shining in her eyes. It is clear that the words just now carried a deeper meaning. What qualifies as a worthy person? I asked slowly. Sophia smiled mischievously. James, you have always said that childhood sweethearts are no match for fate. Rejected me for over 20 years. What you now perceive as fate has revealed its true nature. Have you thought about me? Perhaps I am not just a childhood friend. It is still meant to be. My mom couldn't help but laugh out loud when she heard it. It was then that I realized my parents were sitting in the living room, eavesdropping on our conversation. After Sophia left, my parents said to me seriously, James, I think Sophia is nice. She has liked you for so many years. This girl has great character. I reflect on the things Sophia has done for me during this time, as well as the bits and pieces of her companionship with me throughout my life. Gradually, there was an added sense of pity and warmth towards her in my heart. Perhaps I should give myself a chance. Try being with her. About Emily, since she left me for William, my feelings for her gradually faded away. I am not the type of person who easily falls in love. I value emotional connections, but I only love those who are worthy. After experiencing the online bullying incident, my company will notify me to return to work soon. I was promoted to regional manager. Did not expect that. The reversal of this online harassment incident, it actually brought a lot of free publicity to the company. The orders have doubled. The revenue has also exceeded that of the same period in previous years. The company rewarded me for this. Emily was soon fired by the company. All the colleagues feel disgusted by her and her brother's behavior. They all deleted and blocked her. Even colleagues who originally had a good relationship with her began to avoid her. After that, she went for interviews at other companies. Either be rejected, either they joked about her and her brother's situation. She was both angry and annoyed. In the end, I had to accept the fact that I had already been excluded from this industry. She stopped me downstairs at the company. Make a sincere request. James, I was wrong. Don't be angry anymore. Let's make up. Reconcile. I think you're really funny. Are you trying to be flirtatious with me while your brother is inside? Still out of money, I reached out to my ex-boyfriend for help. Emily argued, don't say that. My brother and I really don't have anything going on. We grew up together since childhood. The bond between siblings is profound. Don't misunderstand. I said helplessly, forget it. It has nothing to do with me. Those who pretend not to know cannot be awakened. Actually, I already have a girlfriend. Don't disturb me again in the future. How could it be? Emily spoke to herself. James, we have been together for 3 years. How could you possibly forget me so quickly? You are certainly deliberately rejecting me, unless you bring her to see me. Here it comes. Sophia suddenly stood up from the chair beside her, lazily looking at her. he said. Sister, I've been here for a long time. I'm curious about what you want to say. I didn't expect it to be the same old story again. I really don't understand how James liked you in the first place. The front desk and security at the door all laughed when they heard that. Emily looked at the tall, beautiful, and stylishly dressed Sophia in front of her. I am very angry, James. Don't let the wealthy manipulate you. They cannot marry you. Sophia smiled. Miss Sister, you might not know. The James family is not lacking in money. Our family is well matched in social status. I don't dare to play with him at all. Emily's face turned very pale. James, we have been together for so many years. You never told me your family was so wealthy. I joked. Why didn't you tell me you have an unreliable brother? When we are together, I have never talked about my family's financial situation because I think two people being together, what matters most is whether you are living well. Family background is not the key factor. Therefore, I have never delved deeply into her family situation. I didn't expect reality to teach me a lesson. The Porsche at the entrance is particularly eye-catching. I opened the passenger door for Sophia. Then, under Emily's gaze, he started the car steadily. The car drove out far. In the rearview mirror, Emily could still be seen standing there alone, crying. I don't know if she is regretting it at this moment. I left to satisfy my brother's unreasonable request. She probably won't come again in the future. You don't have to wait for me every day anymore. I said to Sophia, that won't do. I am not being wary of her. I really miss you. Sophia replied with a smile. I smiled slightly. Follow her. After all, from childhood to adulthood, she has always been by my side like a little follower. 3 years pass in the blink of an eye. Sophia has always been consistent with me. After the lessons learned from the last time, this time I conducted an in-depth understanding of Sophia's family and her friends around her. Sophia's family is very simple. She is an only child. My parents and my dad are business partners. The relationship is very familiar. Her social circle is also very clean. Once everything is understood clearly, we have decided to get married. In these 3 years, Emily hasn't contacted me again. I heard she found a job as a waitress in the city. The William family faced challenges due to William's stubbornness 3 years ago. Never recovered again. Emily's mom sighs at home all day. William's dad, on the other hand, was completely drunk. He started losing his temper at her as soon as he got home. I no longer want to deal with these matters. The wedding was held very grandly on that day. Sophia just came out of the changing room and obediently nestled into my arms. I kept holding her, did not let her fall to the ground. My friends jokingly say that she behaves like a little kitten in front of me. She shyly nestled in my arms. The voice asked softly, what does it matter? I just want to be my husband's little kitty, a lifelong desire. Everyone laughed along. I couldn't help but laugh. I recall the scene from 3 years ago when I was pushed away. Tears welled up uncontrollably. Fortunately, fate did not lead me astray. I am not with the wrong person. After the wedding, a good friend is rushing to catch a flight. I accompanied Sophia all the way out with her. Suddenly, the commotion in front of the hotel caught our attention. Emily, what are you doing? That unreliable guy is already married. Are you still thinking about him? The voice sounds a bit familiar. I raised my head. I saw William, whom I hadn't seen for 3 years. He is different compared to 3 years ago. Lost a lot of weight. The beard has not been trimmed. It seems that life in prison is not very pleasant. It no longer looks the same as it did in youth. At this moment, he is pointing at the poster of Sophia and me at the hotel entrance. Shouted loudly at Emily, who was sitting by the roadside. Emily's hair is messy, wearing a common overcoat. She is no longer as pretty and lively as she used to be. Don't say that anymore. Emily looked at him coldly. If it weren't for you, can James get married to someone else? If it weren't for you, our children have had their own lives for a long time. Emily started to cry. You are actually blaming me, right? William showed a hurt expression. You always say it's not my fault. In fact, it's all lies. You have been blaming me all along. You never really liked me at all. Hearing this, Sophia and I exchanged glances. Both saw surprise in each other's eyes. I didn't expect that William really had those feelings for Emily, and it was also said in front of everyone. Don't say that anymore. You don't need to say anything anymore. Emily walked up angrily. Want to cover William's mouth. I must say, William broke free from her, stubbornly said, Emily, we have been together for so many years. I don't believe you could be unaware of my feelings for you. We eat and sleep together. When you are angry, I will hold you and comfort you. I have kissed you before. I don't believe you have no feelings for me at all. Don't say anything more. Please don't say it anymore. Emily covered her face, began to cry. I have always felt a sibling-like affection for you. I don't believe it, William said stubbornly. Which sister would wash her brother's underwear in her 20s? Which sister would refrain from allowing the groom to kiss at the wedding out of consideration for her brother's feelings? Emily took a step back, covering his ears in pain. Tears flowed uncontrollably. Stop talking. I really don't want to listen. Emily, you once loved me. It was just because of the man's appearance. Your heart has been taken away by him, so I am very angry with him. You should always belong to me. It's all good now. He is already married. You don't have to keep staring at the photo and thinking about him all day anymore. We will be together in the future. He can give you, I can give it to you too. William stepped forward. Hold Emily's hand. Don't touch me. Emily felt unwell, suddenly pushed William away. William was pushed back 2 unsteady steps. James was right after all. Everyone is right. I can't believe you would do this. Love my own sister. This is just unacceptable. Emily pointed at him and complained loudly. Next, she whispered to herself. It's all my fault. Why should I treat you so well? Why didn't I see your true self earlier? Why not trust James's reminder? No, William said while crying. We are not siblings at all. You were brought by Dad. I was brought here by my mom. There is no blood relationship between us. If it weren't for James, my parents originally wanted us to be together. It is indeed because he messed up all the plans. I cannot accept that either, Emily said angrily. I have always regarded you only as an older brother. James Huajin. We left. The passing guests greeted us. We smile and wave. When I turned back, I found that the Williams siblings were looking at us. William suddenly ran over. Say, it's all your fault. If it weren't for you, how could Emily not like me? If it weren't for you, how did I end up spending 3 years in prison? Become so unlike a human. Sophia stepped forward, blocking my way. At that moment, a crisp sound of a slap echoed. William looked at Emily in shock. Emily, you really hit me. You actually hit me because of James. That's right, Emily said loudly. I acted because of him. What qualifications do you have to compare yourself to him? Look at yourself. You cannot compare to him at all. What right do you have to stop me from getting close to him? I will tell you, he is the only man I have ever loved in my life. It used to be. It is the same now. If you dare to trouble him again, I won't be polite to you. William clenched his fists and struck the air in anger. Seemed very angry. It seems that there is a lot of pain in the heart. Emily looked at me. Her eyes revealed a depth of emotion I had never seen before. James, the past mistakes are all my fault. I sincerely apologize to you. She bent down and bowed to me. I looked at her, a slight smile. There is no fluctuation in my heart. Pain immediately showed in her eyes. She smiled wryly, turned to Sophia and say, sorry to disturb you. I just want to watch from a distance. Speaking of this, her voice suddenly choked. I will not disturb you again in the future. Please take good care of him for me. Sophia held my hand and said, that's fine. You don't need to worry. Emily nodded self-deprecatingly. Finally, she gave me a deep look, pulling William to the side, slowly walked away. What are you doing? Sophia nudged me a bit jealously. Were you moved by her deep affection? Reluctant to leave, I smiled gently. Late-coming affection is not that important. I just want to change the color of the bedsheets tomorrow. Sophia was taken aback. Then she acted coy. I really dislike it. The more annoying things are still to come. I picked up Sophia, put it in the car waiting nearby. Although time passes very slowly, but being with a girl like Sophia, who is jealous and easily shy, it should be quite interesting.